Hello everyone, welcome to Grace Hollow Rabbitry. I'm PJ, and today I want to talk to you about the pros and cons to raising rabbits. Now, there are several reasons to raise rabbits, and I'm going to go over those with you today too. The first reason, and one of the pros of raising rabbits, kids love them. Rabbits make excellent pets. They're easily trainable. They take up a small amount of room. They're relatively inexpensive to obtain and then maintain. They teach kids responsibility. It helps them learn independence on doing things for themselves and for their pet. And it also, if you use them for other purposes also, it can also teach kids about growing food and where their food comes from. Now, the downside to having a rabbit for a pet, or any other reason for that matter, is a rabbit is a responsibility. They have to have fresh food and water, and they have to have a safe environment, and that is a responsibility. So you can't just up and leave, go out of town for an unlimited amount of time and expect your little pet to still be alive when you return. So you do have to consider, before you leave on vacation, how the rabbit is going to be taken care of while you're gone, or are you going to take that rabbit with you? Another good reason, and one of the main reasons I raise rabbits, is for the compost and for the fertilizer. Rabbits are excellent at making compost. They poop, and they poop a lot. They poop all the time. They really do. A little beast like that can make a lot of poop, and that poop you can either compost it along with your weeds and scraps and grass and whatnot, and then put it into the garden. Whether you mix it into the soil, use it as a top dressing, or you can even use it as a mulch. You can use that fertilizer or compost any way you want. You can also use it directly into your garden. You don't have to compost it. It's not a hot fertilizer. You don't have to let it age. You can take it directly from beneath the rabbit and put it straight into the garden, or your house plants, or any other plant, tree, bush, shrub that you want to fertilize. You can just take it straight to it, and it will do its job. And the downside to that is they poop. You have to have an end game for that poop, or you're just going to have a huge buildup. So you do, if you don't plan on composting it, maybe you can give it to your neighbor for compost, or maybe you can sell it to the guy next door who gardens as fertilizer for his garden, and maybe make a little bit of feed money for your pet. Going along with composting rabbits, and you have to be careful with this. The rabbits do eat your scraps. Now, you don't want to overfeed them, but if you have a little dandelion in your garden, you can pluck it out, feed it to your rabbit, or clover, or a variety of other kitchen scraps. They like bananas and sweet potatoes and strawberries and a multitude of everything, kale and spinach. Now, you do want to do your research. There are some greens that you don't need to give your rabbit, and you don't want to give them too much. The majority of their diet should be a good, healthy, quality alfalfa pellet. So, but they can eat your kitchen scraps if you have a few. Another great thing to do, another great reason to raise rabbits, is for meat. Rabbits is an excellent protein source, very low in fat. In fact, if rabbit is your only protein source, you will want to look elsewhere for your fats, like in peanuts or other beans or nuts or avocados, because rabbits don't have enough fat to give you the amount of fat that you need. So if rabbit is your only source of protein, you will have to look for another source of fat. That's the downside to raising rabbits for meat, is you have to keep up with that fat content, and you have to bring that fat content from somewhere else. Now, even if you don't yourself want to eat the rabbit meat, which again, like I said, is a very lean, high protein source, even if you don't want it for yourself, you can still raise rabbits for pet food. Whether you want to feed your cat a raw meat, a raw diet, or your dog, or there's other pets that like meat also, and rabbits make a good meat source for pet food also. Not just human consumption, but pets also. The downside to that is, if you're raising them for meat, you have to do the dainty chore of killing the animal, and that's never the fun part, but it has to be done if you're going to raise rabbits for meat. Another reason to raise rabbits is the byproducts. Not only do you have fertilizer for your garden that's going to produce excellent, yummy, delicious fruits and vegetables for you, but you also have other byproducts. If you're butchering and processing your rabbit for meat, you can also use the pelts. You can tan those and use them for craft projects, or quilts, or hats, or mittens. You can. I don't know a whole lot about using the fur for fibers, but you can. You can grow wool breed rabbits that produces the wool, and you. I don't know a whole lot about the wool, but you can use that fur and spin it into yarn, and then you can make mittens and hats and all kinds of things that you would make with yarn. So that's another thing, another byproduct that you could consider. You got the pelts, you've got the fiber. You can dehydrate the ears, and again, you have chew toys for your dogs. Again, you want to dehydrate those. You can other byproducts is jerky. The belly flaps you can dehydrate and make rabbit jerky, or some people like to make rabbit bacon out of those. Again, that goes back to the food, but it's also part of the byproducts also. And then I've already talked about how not only is the rabbit good for the garden, but the garden is good for the rabbit. If you have a little extra spinach, or a little extra kale, or a little extra tidbit from the garden, you can feed that to your rabbit and just give it a good little treat. And then another benefit to raising rabbits, and this is one that one of my favorite, I raise for the fertilizer because I do like to garden, and then I raise for meat. I do eat some of the meat, and then I do feed part of it to my dogs also. Even my chickens, they'll eat the scraps that me and the dogs don't want, my chickens will eat. So it's a win-win situation for all of us. But another great benefit to me is the hobby. Now, the hobby is not cheap, okay? Rabbits are relatively inexpensive to raise, and a benefit to rabbit over so many other things about raising for meat is they're quiet, they're small, they're relatively inexpensive. The prolific breeders, they mature quickly, require little maintenance, little work. Even if you live in a small city apartment, you can, within reason, maintain a healthy breeding pair of rabbits and produce a portion of your own meat, even from a small apartment. You can do that. It does take a little extra work, to keep it clean and sanitary, keep your rabbits clean and sanitary. And it does take work, but it can be done. I know a lot of people that do have just a pair or maybe even a trio in their apartment that they're raising to help provide meat for their table. It can be done in an apartment. Anyway, back to what I was getting to. One of the other benefits for me is the hobby of showing and exhibiting. I love growing rabbits, trying to better them, not only for my own rabbitry. I like to get them as close to the standard of perfection as possible and then compete. And I like being able to raise as far as the standard and a judge's opinion on a particular day. I really enjoy the fun in raising a rabbit that might be comparable to someone else's, or maybe on a particular day even better. It's just fun to me, and not only the competition, but then meeting and visiting and hanging out with other people who do the same thing I do, who has an interest and a love for rabbits, or the gardening and the fertilizer, or the meat and raising them. Just other like-minded people who raise rabbits for their own reasons, but still enjoy the love and the joy that a rabbit gives. So there's some of the pros and cons to raising rabbits. I hope to dig into these things a little deeper. There's a lot I can tell you about raising rabbits for meat, and I hope to get into that. Now, I can't tell you a whole lot about raising rabbits for the fiber, but I have several friends that do, and I have a couple of friends that actually spin the fur. So I hope sometime this year I can get into maybe that as a subject matter. I've been talking to a couple of people, and I have a couple of them that have agreed to do that for me, a video for me, and so I hope to be able to get that done in the upcoming months and break all this down into its own video, a little specialized video on raising rabbits for meat, or raising rabbits as pets. And one of my favorite attractions in Arkansas is Eureka Springs. Of course, I got married in Eureka Springs. I honeymooned in Eureka Springs, and here in just less than 4 weeks I'm going back and having another vacation there in Eureka Springs. But one of my favorite stores there, I can't ever remember the name of that store. I know where it's located. They actually I've just found out at Christmas time, they actually have 2 stores, one downtown where I always go, and then they have one uptown. They have pet rabbits that they have trained, and when you go to check out, they take your money, they give you your cash or your change, they accept your credit card, they hand you your receipt, and even little small packages, they will hand those to you as you check out. And, I love going down there just to watch the rabbits. The lady that owns these rabbits have really put a lot of time into training these guys, and they're just fabulous. But if you ever get down to Eureka Springs, please message me and ask me. I have the business card, but it's back at home. It's not with me. I can give you the name of that store. I just don't have it right in front of me. Hey, thanks for watching, and until we speak again, God bless.